So welcome everybody. This is episode 21 of Baseline Tech Talk Tuesday. And as a reminder for anyone that's coming in for the first time, perhaps, all the previous episodes are on the YouTube channel, which is Baseline Web Training. That's all one word, Baseline Web Training on YouTube. And then Dan's put out a couple additional videos, I believe, how-to type right. stuff between last week and this week. Mm-hmm. And the topic for today is the differences and similarities, both between the 1000 and 3200 platform, because historically we speak very in-depth on the 3200 platform because there's a lot to unpack there. And we want to make sure that we also speak to the 1000 platform because that's a great product for us. It's a solid base. There's a lot of really happy users, and it for a lot of projects can be a very good equal to the 3200 without some of the complexities. So Dan is going to...
And we've got participants, repeat participants in Tech Talk Tuesday that are 1000 users. So we need to give them some technical insight into the product that they use.
Yeah. So Dan, let's hand it over to you, man. Let's get started.
Awesome. You started to mention that a lot of our previous Tech Talks have really focused on the Basestation 3200. That's really where some of those advanced features come in. But there are some advanced features in the 1000s. We thought it was worth taking a look at some of those key differences and key similarities. So I'll start off with sharing my screen. So we'll start off with some similarities. There's some similarities between hardware and programming, or some of the electronics behind that. So I say the first one is we can run 2-wire or conventional wire on either controller. It's just a matter of what board is inside of there. And what's awesome is that powered by coder fits in the Basestation 3200, fits in the 1000, fits in the substation. It just fits across all of our components. Both controllers, the 3200 and the Basestation 1000, both work with soil moisture sensors. Search and assign is identical. It's that familiar process that we're used to, the same across each controller. Water windows, soak cycle, some of those very core programming functions are the same in each of them. Both the Basestation 3200 and the Basestation 1000 we can run Base Manager and weather access and mobile access. The communication modules, so whether it's the cell modem or Ethernet or whatever your communication method is, identical in them. And then the one that we really, Andy and I kind of remembered was, the warranty is exactly the same. So 5-year core warranty without doing anything, or you can get an extended 10-year warranty. Either controller, up to 10 years warranty.
Right. And that warranty, of course, is based on 5-year and 10-year based on grounding. But in order to get the extended 10-year warranty, you have to provide us with the grounding point data that we reviewed in the previous Tech Talk Tuesday episode.
Mm-hmm. Right. Excellent.
That also occurred to me, too, while you were talking, Dan, that the search and the assign is the same, which indicates that the 2-wire technology is the same, that we've got that two-way communication utilizing real-time data across both platforms in order to manage, monitor flow, use soil moisture sensors and other 2-wire devices.
And piggyback on that, the exact same 2-wire devices for each system, right? Now, the other thing that I think that's kind of interesting is the controller itself is that faceplate, but the internals are the same as well. So you have the upgradability as well. So that's some of the similarities. Let's kind of compare them side by side, just on the surface comparison. So Basestation 3200 can handle up to 200 zones, where the Basestation 1000 can handle up to 100 zones. There's up to 8 water sources with the Basestation 3200, but only 3 water sources on the 1000. Soil moisture sensor, we got a few more on the Basestation 3200 and a few less on the 1000, and up to 99 programs on the 3200 and 30 programs on the 1000. Well, a lot of people are kind of looking at the 1000 and it's like, well, that's more than I'm getting with a lot of my other controllers that I've used. So it's really about station count. No, it's not. There's definitely that. I definitely started off saying this is a surface comparison. So I want to delve into some of the bigger differences that are beyond the station count.
Excellent.
We have seen some people that have used a Basestation 3200 for 20 zones or 40 zones, and it's because some of these features that we're about to talk about, or the abilities. Oh. Okay, so the first one is, pardon me, is about connectivity. It's how we're going to connect in. So the Basestation 3200 can connect with a substation and connect with flow station, where the Basestation 1000 won't talk to the substation and won't talk to the flow station. So what does that mean? What does that mean?
It's more of a simplistic single site, single controller, a lot of times single water source, or multiple water sources, but in that simplistic format where you don't have the need for control points and sub main lines and such, where they're just more flow sensor main line, or two that feed one. So it's just more of your basic site, a standard shopping mall, 20 to 60 zones, or even parks that just have a single water source, maybe an 1.5 inch source, and 18 existing zones on a single ball field. This could be a good solution, just on that more simplistic site.
Yep. Yeah. With the 3200, with the substation and the flow station, they're extension of the functionality of the 3200 in its programming set. So they're performance components specifically engineered to interface with the advanced feature set associated with the 3200, as opposed to, like Andy illustrated, the 1000 being more for a single site, less complex type irrigation scenario.
Exactly. Right. So the other thing to look at is flow. So this is where we're going to really start to see some of the differences, some of the big differences. The Basestation 3200 can work with our control point technology. And when you get control point technology, you can also get pressure. You don't get either of those on the Basestation 1000. So let's unpack that for a second and talk about control point technology and pressure. So, the control point gives us the ability to put a master valve, a flow sensor, and a pressure component together anywhere on the pressurized main line and move them around. Well, on the Basestation 1000, first of all, we can't have pressures, but we can have a master valve and a flow sensor in a single point on that location. So again, kind of going back to Andy's example, for simple sites, maybe that's not important, and the Basestation 1000 will definitely fit in there. But if you think you're going to want pressure, that's something that's going to steer you back to the other side. Mm-hmm. We do have flow alerts, so we can get a high flow alert on the Basestation 3200. I can also get low flow alerts on the Basestation 1000. I'm only going to get a high flow alert, and I don't know what alert
is. Alert alert specific to a 1000?
It is. It's a unique typo. We dropped the A's so we could sell it at a lower price point.
Oh, I see.
That's what high flow means. It's just alerting. Low flow is the true alert.
And this is what it looks like when we do last minute changes, right? Nice.
No, that is definitely a key differentiator, and something to keep in mind is there are no low flow alarms, alerts, or shutdowns capable with the 1000.
So you're kind of leading into the next one is we get low flow leak detection. So when we can do low flow alerts, we can get low flow leak detection on the Basestation 3200, and we don't get that on the 1000. So Andy, you had a couple of really good thoughts on what that means, the low flow or leak detection.
Yeah, so if you think about low flow, obviously you could have clogged heads. You could have pipes that have been impaired. You could have valves that aren't completely opening. Those would all be, sort of low flow alarms, or somebody that actually shut the flow control off at the valve. That happens occasionally. Those are all low flow alarms. And then the leak detection, is something that is unique to the 3200, and is something that we're seeing more and more opportunities for, and more importance in market with wanting that capability.
So like a stuck valve could be in that leak detection, or a weeping valve. That could be something that we could help track down what the Basestation 3200 would. It's just not. It's not, the 1000 isn't sophisticated enough, or it's not built into the programming to be able to handle that.
Yeah. wasn't engineered for that purpose.
Yep.
Exactly right. So I've got a second slide on flow. So there's definitely a lot of flow features that are worth talking about. The Basestation 3200 has the advanced flow variants where we don't see it on the 1000. A couple of things on the advanced flow variant. So if I have a zone that's expecting 40 gallons a minute, I can set the parameters of the variance above and below for that 40 GPM. And if I have another zone that has, or a grouping is another zone that might be running 120 GPM, I can have a different parameter for that one because, 30% of 40 gallons a minute is a different number than 30% of 120 gallons a minute. So I have the ability to dial that in where on the 1000 I get 1% across all those zones. The thing about advanced flow variants is I can opt out of, I can have it shut down at high flow, but not shut down at low flow, which may be important. When I worked in the field, I thought it would be really nice to get an alert when I had a low flow, like Andy says, a valve that hasn't opened all the way, to get an alert on that one, but not shut it down and still get some water out of it. So we have that capability. Both controllers can learn flow, but on the Basestation 3200, we can do it by program and zone, and the 1000 is just by zone only.
Well, and let me qualify that. So at the interface on the 1000, you can only do learn flow by zone, but in Base Manager, you can learn flow by program for the 1000 as well.
Good clarification.
The other key difference in learn flow is that you can schedule the learn flow for the program in the 3200,
right,
where learn flow by program for the 1000 is on demand.
There we go. That was my next point. And then the last one is we can set up a water budget based off of each water source in the Basestation 3200 where we don't have water budgeting in the 1000. So on the Basestation 3200, 8 separate water sources. That means I can actually have up to 8 separate water budgets. So if you need to manage your water over, to a measurable number, the Basestation 3200 is definitely where we're going with that. So flow is looking like a big deal on these. Moisture sensors. Both controllers will work with moisture sensors, as we said before. The Basestation 3200 can start a program with moisture. It can also drill down to an individual zone because we have the linked and primary structure on the Basestation 3200. One of the Basestation 1000 will start an entire program, and we don't have the ability to come down to an individual zone.
Right. And this question seems to come up quite a bit as it relates to new configurations. So think of a 1000 that's going in the ground, and perhaps it's a smaller, maybe it's more of an urban project of 6 or 7 zones with also 6 or 7 sensors. And it's important to remember that in that case where you would like to have a sensor control a zone, you need to utilize the additional program sets so that you would end up putting one zone in one program and then controlling the program with the sensor. And so on the 1000, if you have 5 zones and 5 sensors, you would also have 5 programs. And on the 3200, you could put all of the zones inside one program and assign the sensor to the specific zone.
Right. And yeah, good call. I like that. So let's talk about where some good fits for the Basestation 1000 is. So I think we come back to that. We got to hit that surface thing first, right? 100 zones, no more than 3 water sources, because if we're 101 zones, 110 zones, this isn't going to fit. You're going to want app manager and mobile access, or maybe weather access if you want those connectivities. Flow needs are going to be simple, right? So a lot of those, the big delta, the big difference between these two was in those flow characteristics, or those advanced flow characteristics. Maybe it's a design build. So you're a design build contractor and you want something really simple to set up, but you still want to be able to remotely operate it, remotely connect it, and still get some flow information. And then we come back to that warranty, right? You want an extended warranty, or you want a 5 or a 10-year warranty. We're still going to get that with the Basestation 1000. Those are some of the key things on this one.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, Dan, as you went through the slides here, it was easy to see how many more bullet points you had on the 3200 than the 1000.
Right.
And I want to make sure that, for those of you that are joining us today, the intention was not to try to sell you guys on a 3200 controller at all. It may look like we're putting all these advantages there, but it's really to point out the differences. And to us, what we care about is you using the right product on the right project and feeling like you're getting the most value out of it.
And what the design intent is for that project.
Right.
So,
right.
A 3200 may be the best fit because of its engineered feature set to operate a 3-zone system, as opposed to a 1000 that could still do that. But the intent of the design with the water sourcing and some of the advanced flow management capabilities of the 3200 make it a better fit for that design intent.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some real world sites. What are some? Let's talk about some sites where a Basestation 1000 would really fit well.
Let's see. We get. I'll speak to the Northeast. Northeast is a pretty large and popular 2-wire market, and so we get a lot of projects that are in that, let's say, 20 to 50 or even higher zone count. That aren't complicated with large main lines and hydraulics, but just have a lot of zones that are maybe high-end residential or even some commercial where you have just a diverse landscape, and it calls for a lot of zones. And you can set the 1000 up really quickly. You still get all the search and assign. And we have a lot of contractors that will prefer to use it again and again because they get all the trust and value out of the search and assign and 2-wire capabilities without that complexity of having to train their staff to go into the 3200 and set up the various configurations, which are there on the 3200 to support all those performance components. But if you're not using the performance components, you might as well use the 1000 that's in that simplistic setup.
And in Base Manager with the user interface, the 1000 looks exactly the same as the 3200 in Base Manager. So the displays are different at the controller interface, but in Base Manager, you would program it exactly the same way as you're programming the 3200 in the user interface of Base Manager.
I know
and
for
Dan,
myself,
too, I was just going to jump back to your comment earlier. I actually recently had a project that has had a 1000 installed for, I think, 6 years. And now there's another I think it's a Hunter controller on the other side of the property that they just found out pulls water from the same source. And they asked me, hey, how can we switch out this other controller and connect it to the 1000? They can't run a wire, so we can't make it a true wired 2-wire device. But because of the continuity in the platforms and the consistency of what you mentioned at the beginning, with the face panel being the difference, but everything under the hood is the same, what we're recommending is they just replace the 1000 panel with a 3200, and then they can take that other controller and make it a substation. So you can go from a base 1000 build out, and if the site changes over time, you can convert that and build that out with a 3200 if it ever changes, which is really cool.
I think that is really cool. Let's clarify that, because I don't want this to be lost on contractors and people in the field. Is the box stays on the wall, the high volt stays on the wall, the field wiring stays on the wall, the transformer stays on the wall, ribbon cable, grounding lug, pull off the panel, put it on, and that's all.
You do have to do your search and assign and set up your config.
Right, that's still there.
But all of the componentry, the 2-wire boards, the power boards, all of that are identical between platforms.
Right.
Yep. And since it's Tech Talk Tuesday, if you do that, make sure that before you unplug the ribbon cable, power down the controller.
Please. Yes.
You'll not like the consequence otherwise.
I think we call it a brick.
CYA.
Yeah.
Well, that sticker on the back that says "Don't do that." Yeah.
Yeah. Read the sticker. Use your damn stickers, right? It's always been a constant refrain in baseline training. Very cool. All right.
So let's see. So, Chris, any other sites that would fit really well on that? Any other thoughts on that?
Out west, we've got a number of school districts that have invested in the 1000 platform just because of its simplicity on smaller, elementary or junior high sites where they don't need a lot of the advanced flow management or scheduling priorities or whatever that come with the 3200. It's just very straightforward control system that the managers of the irrigation controllers on those sites can interface with or easily understand and don't get caught up in complexity. It's just very straightforward. So that's great application for it. Also, with any design build contractors that are working with GCs and they have those relationships, and the GC gets the construction job of a commercial building, and the contractor that they prefer goes in and subcontracts the irrigation installation. 1000 is a great fit for that as well. And then they have the ability to tie in those multiple sites into their base manager user interface and manage them remotely rather than just being a single site controller. Another advantage, which gets attention increasingly more and more, is the fact that the 1000, like the 3200, is US built. So it's sourced, the components are sourced in Boise. We build them in Boise. Which also means that we have the ability to build them and ship them without any kind of delays associated with the complexities of logistics in a COVID world.
Yeah. So I think we're 100% uptime this entire period.
Right.
As it relates to COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. So what kind of questions do we have out there? People, please bring them in. We had one. Chris, increase your volume. It's hard to hear you. I apologize. My gaffer, he's on vacation this week. So I'm left to my own,
And you got to be careful what you ask for in that regard. Yeah. Chris turning up his mic.
Yeah, we work with this guy.
I'm going to get a boom. I got to get a boom like Andy has.
This is just fake. It doesn't do anything.
Just for looks.
I'll show, no go.
Yeah. Any other questions out there? Anybody?
Let's hear. Put in the chat or comment. What is your preferred platform? Do you prefer the 1000 or the 3200? Because I know there is some personal preference. I've seen people even convert between one to the other just because they like the user interface on one versus the other.
Right. Or if someone's already invested in one platform or the other, they don't want a different programming interface of the controller that may confuse, technicians or staff or whoever may be working with it. Mr. Hodnet, I am not going to address your comment, just for the record.
So in the recording that won't show. So thank you for not repeating it.
But thanks for the input, brother. All right. Well, we don't have any questions coming in. That's kind of surprising. Or comments.
Okay. Well.
All right. Fine. We'll hear it. Be that way. We definitely like to not abuse our airtime and go beyond 30 minutes, but there's nothing that says we can't wrap a few minutes early for sure. Okay. So now we've got a couple of comments coming.
All right. Oh, good. We got Josh Wooten, big baseline user.
Yeah. Good point. Hodnet redeemed himself. Make the point that the 1000 is also available in an Ag 1000 platform that was got a couple of extra feature sets that make it suitable for nursery applications, especially. And that would be one, it will operate zones in seconds, which can be an advantage if you're looking to syringe plant material for whatever reason and need a short runtime. With the Ag 1000, the other difference also is that we can operate in sets, which could also have landscape applications, say for like grow in on seed. Basically means that when a program finishes, it just automatically restarts from the beginning again without needing a new start time to initiate that operation repeat. So Ag 1000 is another option as well.
Seconds versus minutes. So the 3200 minutes is the smallest increment, and then the 3200 or the 1000 it's seconds, and that's really about the processor. Am I correct? That's where that came from, off of the core. They have different processors in them, and different OSs and how they run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we got a great question here from coming in. Did you say that the 1000 is not compatible with substations? And you did hear that correctly. A substation is what we call a performance component of the 3200 platform. So the substation speaks directly to the controller, either on site or to the 3200 via the cloud, but it's a sub-component of the 3200 platform.
Right.
And if you have a 1000 site, maybe I confused this by my example I spoke to earlier. If you have an existing 1000 site that you now would like to add a substation to, you would need to switch the front display to make it a 3200 controller.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Okay.
All right. We've got some other comments that would be more tech support related, that aren't completely relevant to the 1000 platform itself. But for example, if you're reading temperature but not reading moisture on a moisture sensor, then you need to replace or RMA the moisture sensor.
Yeah, if the blade has been damaged, the blue blade reads the moisture, but the temperature is in the decoder portion, so typically they can be damaged when that occurs.
Yeah. Okay, and Josh Wooten wants to know if we can move the log off or the next button on the controller or the interface, and at this point, likely not.
But that is a good comment. We will put it into the pipeline, because all comments are good comments, so we'll add that to the list. Thanks, Josh.
For sure. Yeah. Awesome. All right, gentlemen. We have wrapped another successful edition of Tech Talk Tuesday. What is on the docket for next week?
Well, I like lists, and I like top 10 lists. So we're going to do top 10 frequently asked questions. So we're going to...
Is this going to be like David Letterman style?
Yes. Ooh. Yes.
I expect flashcards, and I expect you to throw them behind you as you get done with them. So
okay, got it. I can do that. Okay.
All right. Hey, we appreciate everybody's participation. Thanks for taking the time to join us. We hope that you feel that this is usable information. We always try to make it interesting and informative and unique for you every week, in and out. We don't plan on going anywhere and continuing this program. So we're in it for the long haul with y'all, and we hope that you have success with Baseline. We appreciate your support. Go out and be productive, be safe, and let us know if you need any other support or questions. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks.
We'll see you next week. Bye.